And for David, you're obviously here because you were playing Cleveland Booker. Let's talk a little bit about him. What is he like? Without, giving away too much, just what's the vibe?
I think the main thing that was special about this character was his sense of purpose, and to find a sense of purpose that was bigger than himself, that allowed him to continue living life. It was a backstory that I kind of loosely discussed with Michelle and Alex, but I tell you what, he's going to inject something special, and he's going to bring out something special in Michael Burnham, and Michael Burnham will do exactly the same thing for him.
How does he come into contact with Burnham?
Michael Burnham literally bumps into Cleveland Booker, and their first interaction, and I think it's quite romantic, is throwing cuffs and fists.
Oh, God, that's what everybody wants. It's the most romantic way to meet, is just...
That's the best way to do it. It's very sexy. I highly recommend
100%. Right off the bat, throwing hands. That's how you know you're made for each other. You're an equal match. I love to hear.
Best way to break the ice, I assure you.
Alex and Michelle, since we have heard David's view on Booker, how would you describe him? He is kind of your child in a sense, so how do you feel about Book?
Having watched David's work, I think we had a very strong instinct that he was just going to be spectacular in the part. And what was so impressive to us starting in the first episode was how easily he just slipped right in. It was like he's been doing the show for a really long time. And the thing that was most beautiful to watch is his dynamic with Burnham over the course of the season, because Michael has had a series of very complicated relationships that never really allow her to, I think, flourish, a certain part of her to flourish. And we talked about the idea that she would need to meet her match in a way who seemed initially very, very different from her, right? Like, she is selfless, he is selfish, right? Is the easy binary. But over the course of the first episode, she comes to realize that, that's a very incorrect first judgment, and that, in fact, they have a lot more in common than she realized. And then we keep peeling that back over the course of the season.
Yeah, just to add on to that, he's someone who was born into this new world that we come into. So while our heroes have the perspective of, 930 years ago, when the Federation was strong and everyone knew what it was, he comes from this time that's very, very different. And so actually Book helps become a window into this new world for us. He becomes kind of the eyes through which we see the everyday present for those who were born into this new future, and our heroes coming in with a completely different perspective. It's a really helpful way to have made that jump to the future, is to have that anchor for us in what David does with that character.